Hi, my name is Grace Moore, and this is going to be my lumbosacral plexus video. So we're going to go ahead and get started by drawing the roots, which go from T12 all the way down to CO1. So we have T12, L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, and then CO1. So we're going to break this up into portions. So the first portion that we have is from L1 to L4, and that is going to be the lumbar plexus. After the lumbar plexus, we have the sacral plexus, and that's going to go from L4 down to S4. And then after the sacral plexus, we're going to have the coccygeal plexus, and that's going to go from S4 down to CO1. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, these are the roots. And then after the roots, we're going to have the divisions. And then the divisions are going to be broken up into anterior and posterior. So anterior, for the sake of this video, is going to be red, and then posterior is going to be green. So we're going to go ahead and start up here at the top with T12. And T12 is going to come all the way out, and it's going to form the subcostal nerve. Now we have, let me bring L1 out here. T12 and L1 are going to come together, and they're going to form the iliohypergastric nerve. Iliohypergastric. And then L1, just by itself right here, is going to form the ilioinguinal. And then we're going to bring L2 out a little bit, and we're going to have L1 and L2 come together. We're going to bring it all the way out, and that is going to form the genitofemoral nerve. And all of these things together are going to innervate some portions of the abdominal wall and then the genitalia as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just write ourselves a little note so we remember genitalia. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to L2. So we're going to bring L2 out right here. And then L3 is going to come up and connect with L2. And they're going to come together to form the lateral femoral cutaneous, which is going to innervate some portions, or it's going to innervate the skin. And as a reminder, that is L2 to L3. Next, we have the femoral nerve. And the femoral nerve is going to be a combination between L2, L3, and L4. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then make that known. Femoral. To L4. And then it's going to innervate the iliacus, the sartorius, we have the pectineus, and then the quads as well. And within the quads, it's going to be specifically the rectus femoris and then your vastus muscles. So you have the lateralis, medialis, and then the intermedius. So that's the femoral nerve. Now we're going to change back to the anterior side, and we're going to go to the obturator nerve. And the obturator nerve is also L2 to L4. And the obturator is going to innervate the adductor muscles. So you have the longus, brevis, and magnus. It's also going to innervate the obturator externus. The pectineus, and then the gracilis. And then next we have the accessory obturator nerve, and it's only in so many people, and it goes from L3 to L4. And it is also going to innervate the pectineus. Now for L5, we're going to come back to that in a little bit. It is a pretty in-depth and long one. So for now, this is the lumbar portion of the lumbosacral plexus. This is part 2 of my lumbosacral plexus video, and this time we're going to be focusing on the sacral plexus. It's important to note that L4 and L5 are known as the lumbosacral trunk, which is the connection point between the two plexuses. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back in. So now we have S1, and S1 is going to be the superior gluteal nerve. And that's going to be from L4 to S1. And that's going to innervate the glute min and the glute med. Next is S2. And S2 is going to be the inferior gluteal nerve. and it's going to be L5 to S2. And it's going to innervate the glute max. Between S1 and S2, we're going to have the nerve to the piriformis. After that, we're going to have our S3, and this is going to be the posterior femoral cutaneous. And it's going to innervate the skin, and it's going to go from S1 to S3. So S1 to S3. Next, we're going to have from L5 to S2. This is going to be the obturator internus. And then it's also going to be the gemellus superior. Then from L4 to S1, this is going to be the quadratus femoris. And it will also be the gemellus inferior. Now, from S2 to S4, we're going to have what is known as the pudendal nerve. And the pudendal nerve is going to, let me say, S2 to S4. And it's going to innervate the external anal sphincter and then the external urethral sphincter. I guess we don't need that. Now it's time for the big one, which is the sciatic nerve. And the sciatic nerve is a fusion between the tibialis and the fibula. Yeah, the tibular and fibular nerves. They're fused together, and that's what forms the sciatic nerve. And we're going to go ahead and start with the tibial nerve. So the tibial nerve is going to go from L4 to S3. So we're going to go ahead and just bring it out here. So L4 to S3. We're going to try to draw some of these lines in. Okay. L4 to S3, tibial. L4. And it's going to innervate 10 different muscles. So I'm going to go ahead and just knee down here so you guys can see it. So the first one we're going to have is the gastrocnemius. Then we have the soleus. Then we have the plantaris. Then we have the popliteus. Then we have the flexor digitorum longus, the flexor hallucis longus, the semimembranosus and the semitendinosus. We have the bicep femoris long head. And then we have the tibialis posterior. And that should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then also off of this, we're going to have the fibular nerve. So we're just gonna and we'll go ahead and write the fibular over here. And the fibular is from L4, but it's going to go to S2. And it's going to be split up into two different parts. So we're going to have the deep and the superficial. So let's go ahead and start with the deep. So for the deep, we're going to have the tibialis anterior. We're going to have the bicep femoris short head. We're going to have the extensor digitorum longus and the extensor digitorum brevis. We're going to have the extensor hallucis longus and the extensor hallucis brevis. One, two, three, four, five, six. And then the last one that we're going to have is the fibularis tertius. Fibularis tertius. And then now we're going to do the superficial. And the superficial is only going to innervate two different things, and it's going to be the fibularis longus and then the fibularis brevis. And then I'm just going to do this, and we're just going to say that is the sciatic nerve. And that is all for the sacral portion of the plexus. The last part that we have of the lumbosacral plexus is the coccygeal, and if only they could all be this easy, but the coccygeal is going to be a combination between S4, S5, and then CO1. And this is the coccygeal plexus. And it's going to innervate the skin. So that is all for my lumbosacral plexus video.